What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we finally got access to the release of Out There, Oceans of Time. We've waited a long time for this one, and I'm pretty excited about it. And so, if you haven't seen this game before, I've covered demos and kind of pre-releases for probably the last couple years on this one. But this is an open-world, exploratory space RPG where you've got a team of people that have been marooned out in the middle of the galaxy, and you've got to get to the bottom of an intergalactic conspiracy. You start out with a little tiny shuttle that you escaped in, and along the way you're going to be upgrading your craft and building new modules and collecting resources and doing all that kinds of stuff. And so anyways, we're going to dive on in today and take a look at it for 25-30 minutes, see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or otherwise pass on. If after watching this you did indeed want to get the game for yourself, I'll have a link for you down below in the description. I think it comes out on the 26th. For the cases of this, because we played through the beginning portion of the game before in previous videos, I've actually played for about an hour or so to get us up and like past that so that you can see some gameplay that's a little bit further on into the game. I'll do my best to explain things along the way, but this is an impressions video, and so obviously I don't know everything about the game. We're just kind of taking it as it comes, but I do have a little bit of experience from playing previous demos and also the hour and a half that I played before this recording, so keep that in mind. Down below you'll find that link, of course, and then you'll find links to my Discord and my Twitch stream where I'm live most days of the week, where we can hang out and you can give me your thoughts. But first things first, while we're on this menu right here, as far as I can tell, the game does not support multiple save slots. I was kind of looking around, and that's kind of one of those things that I put on a checkbox for me personally that I check for with any game that releases, and it doesn't seem to have multiple save slots. You seem to just have like the one save slot. And so anyways, I would recommend that they get that implemented. Like at the bare minimum, having like 3 to 5 slots that people can play around with is pretty helpful. Also, I didn't notice, like I didn't want to test it because I have my save here. And so, like, I went back in to test if it would allow you to skip the tutorial at the beginning of the game if you go into a new game, having already precedingly completed that tutorial. And from what I can tell, it doesn't seem to give that option, but I can't fully test it without erasing my game because there's not multiple save slots. And so, unfortunately, like, kind of one of those, like, it's kind of inchoate. Like, I don't know if you can skip the tutorial. Luckily, the tutorial is only like 10-15 minutes long, so it's not like absolutely awful to sit through, like the beginning of Pathologic 2, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours of tutorializing that can't be skipped. Still, it's just a thought that I thought I would bring up before we get on in. But let's go ahead and get back to where I was previously playing the game. Here we are. This is my ship right here. This is not the ship you start out in. This is a ship that I have recovered that I found randomly out in the middle of space. It's pretty cool, you know what I mean? It's got exposed headers. It's got a pretty sick grill. We're kind of hot rodding right now while we fly through space. And the UI of this game is actually really, really simple. This isn't a complicated game. This is really a game about flying around the galaxy and just taking things in. And so ultimately, we have fuel. We need to take care of that. We've got oxygen. Obviously, people need to breathe, and if that runs out, we get all purple and corpseified. We've got our hull right here, which obviously, if that falls apart, that's a really, really bad thing that we don't want to have happen. And then we've got the crew morale, which if that falls too low, ultimately, they kind of bolt you to the fuselage or to the hull, and they use you as a hood ornament, and then they just take over the spacecraft, which is also kind of a terrible outcome for me, the captain, the guy in charge. So anyways, down here on the left, we've got a number of buttons that we can play around with, but I promise the game is really simple. We can open up our cargo hold. Everything in this game is reduced down into elemental components. So as you can see at the moment, I've got some carbon, I've got some silicon, I've got some carbon, I've got some gold, I've got some copper, I've got some thorium, and I've got some cobalt. These materials right here can be used for all kinds of stuff. You can use them to refill your meters. You can use them to build new technology inside of your ship and customize the equipment that you have available to you. You can use them to repair damaged areas, and I'm really glad. I think they got this idea from No Man's Sky, and honestly, that's one of my favorite things about No Man's Sky is when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you find like an S-grade ship, but it's super busted up, or you find like an S-grade gun and it's super cracked, but you gotta like spend the next 3 or 4 hours like repairing all the damaged components on it. I don't know why I like that core gameplay loop so much, but I'm really glad that they incorporated it into this game because I love fixing damaged things. I don't know what it is about taking something damaged and making it work again, but that to me is just one of those infinitely compelling ideas from a video game that keeps me strapped on into the seat. We also have module slots. If you have the resources, we could put in a sick bay. That would allow us to get +5 comfort, on our craft, and in fact, I would recommend we probably get one of those installed as soon as possible. Other things that we have available on our ship, we have a drill. This is used to get minerals from planets so that we can convert them into elemental materials. We've got the cosmic folder that allows us to warp. We've got our hydrogen probe that's going to allow us to scoop fuel from gaseous giants. We've got the interplanetary reactor that allows us to warp. And then we've got the refinery over here that turns our ores into random materials we can use. And we've got a geoscanner. One thing that I would recommend that they add to the game, you can't click and drag. So like these right here, you can click and drag them around. Your modules, you can't do that. I would like to be able to click and drag my modules around to like reorganize them. Or if that's not feasible, just having an option to move it over here for like 1 iron maybe would be a really, really nice addition, because I'm a stickler. I kind of have like... I'm sort of obsessive compulsive about my ships and my inventories being organized, and not being able to move this stuff around without breaking it down and rebuilding it entirely is just like horrifying to me. Like, it just like, I'm like, it makes me feel nervous deep down in my tummy bits. And so anyways, just an observation. You also have different stats that your ship is going to have. You have your performance over here. I think that's just like how good the ship flies and how far it can warp and stuff like that. Ecosystem, don't really know what that does because these aren't tooltip down. Oh, there they go. The tooltip popped on in. It wasn't popping up for a second. Never mind. I take it back. So anyways, we consume less fuel with our performance. The ecosystem, it means we can, I guess we consume less oxygen. We've got resistance. I think this is your damage resistance with your hull. We've got our comfort. And so basically the comfort makes it so that while you're interstellar traveling, your crew get less grumpy. We've got our accommodation capacity right here for crew. Unfortunately, we can only have 2 people on board. And then over on this side, we've got the range of our cosmic folder. And then this guy right here is the range of our telescope. And in fact, in your crew menu, you can assign these guys to different tasks on the ship. So for example, I've told the captain to moonlight as a geologist. So anytime we undertake like a drilling task or like a geo survey, she gets XP. And as she gets XP and levels up that job, she'll actually give bonuses to that task. Likewise for my crew engineer right here, I've made him into a, well, he did have a job. That's weird. I had him on a job just a second ago. He was on a job for like an hour and a half. Huh. Strange. Okay, well, I had him on the... Oh, I know why he doesn't have a job. This ship doesn't have a telescope. He was our astronomer. He was allowing us to warp further than we previously could. I guess I'll put him on drill duty then. I mean, after all, he is an engineer. He duty. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump on out. So at the moment, like, I think tasks that we need to undertake is like we really need to track down some iron or some copper. I do think I have a little bit of copper on board, so I can fix the hull right there. And then we probably want to scoop some fuel and get that rocking as well. That way that we're not like hurting for like gas and looking for a gas station while we're flying around. Unfortunately, this system only has a garden planet, but the good news is I went to the garden planet and I refilled our oxygen. So not really that big of a deal, but let's go to the star chart real fast. And this is where we are currently playing the game. Our next objective is going to be about 60 light years in that direction. And so I'd suggest we head off that way. You can click anything that's inside the range of your warp. I don't know why it's giving me the tutorial tabs again, but it is. Let's go ahead and we'll jump over to here. Unfortunately, there's got to be a mod or something you can put on your ship that allows you to survey and figure out what's in the neighboring territories. I assume it's the telescope, but honestly, I've been just kind of jumping blindly and adapting to situations as they come. So there we go, straight through the warp. Hopefully the Geller field holds. Inside the system, we have rocky bodies. So if we wanted to refill on minerals, we could do that here. There's also away missions in this game, so you can actually walk around on planets and participate in kind of like tiny submissions in order to do other things. And in fact, that's how you're going to stack up like equipment and things that you can give to your various people inside your team. I haven't really figured out how to swap out equipment yet. I picked up something that was like it was some kind of like survey equipment or something. But that having been said, I don't seem to have a way to like click it or put it onto anybody. And so unfortunately, I think it may be like class locked. Like this guy's an engineer, this person is a survivalist, so on and so forth. There's also like explorers and like other classes and things. Oh, I guess when I swapped ships, she lost her... I guess when we swapped ships, she lost her class designation. All right, fair enough. Let's go to one of these rocky planets, I guess. Yeah, we can cruise on down and just go say hello. give it a little love tap and see what it's got for us. I'm pleased to report that the performance seems to be pretty decent in this game. However, the graphics aren't exactly like anything to write home about. Like, they're fine. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that, like, it's not like pushing boundaries or anything either, but the game seems to work fine. We need to scan for anomalies here that'll give us potential surface missions that we can play around with. Possibly find some Omega or something around. There's basically like super materials you'll find from time to time. And those super materials, oh wow, those are like right next to each other. And so anyways, those super materials will allow you to refill any of your meters that you want. Like this one right here, I don't know exactly what we're going to get out. It's slightly dangerous. We could go and check these ones out over here too and just see what they've got going on. That's a mineral area. And this is a gamma anomaly that may potentially... It has an object and it has some minerals, but there's a chance of asphyxia and bleeding. It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit terrifying. But there is a seam of resources that we can harvest if we have an engineer. Yeah, let's do an away mission real fast. Why not? I might as well show you what those look like since you're probably trying to appraise whether or not you wanted to play this game for yourself. Everything is animated, so like you land on planets, they look different. Some planets will have trees, some planets will have valleys, some planets will have kind of like these little nooks and crannies and kind of mesas and things like that. We can actually drill here too. We might as well while we're in the neighborhood. We got 10 iron. I think that works. I'll take that on board, and in fact, I'll use some of it right now to repair the hull, and it looks like we've got some hafnium. Okay. I wish we had found some holnium, but, you know, hafnium will do for right now. I don't know if that's valuable or not. That's a new element that I haven't seen before. We can stack those up to get some space back. All right, we'll stop drilling. We've repaired the hull, and so I'm happy. We could go on expedition. It does look a little bit dangerous, but I think we can handle it. Let's go ahead. Ah, there's where we swap in new gears. So we've got sacred ointments over here that we can put on our character. Each round, the crew has a 20% chance to get swiftness. Okay. Yeah, I think I can live with that. And then we'll add her to the party. And then with my engineer over here, he's got lithological maps. Every time you gain minerals, the crew gets 5 XP. That's amazing. Yeah, take one of those with you. Absolutely. Throw him on into the party, too. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, huh? All right, so here we are planet side. They used to have like a timer on this. So it used to be that you had limited resources and you could only walk around on the planet's surface for so long while a little meter was filling up. But I guess they got rid of that idea. And in all honesty, I think that was a really, really good plan because I think for what the game is trying to be, it made the game a little bit too tense. Since this is kind of like a chill game, I stepped on spikes over here. So unfortunately, my engineer is bleeding profusely now and we'll probably end up having to heal him. We did find a crate, though, and apparently it had a lithological map inside of it. I probably could have gone around the spikes if I had been a little bit more careful. Yeah, let's go ahead. They have limited AP, so anytime they play an ability, it uses up one of these AP. Let's go ahead and we'll use that on him. Yeah, I was going to say, he's kind of wounded right now, and I would rather he not be wounded. Looks like there's spikes that way that we can't really get around. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do this. We may end up actually killing a crewmate. Actually, I can go around this way. Let's go around this way and see what it leads us to. Anything good around here? Huh? Hey, there's some goodies right there. What is that, sulfur? Oh, no, dude, it's poison gas. I made a mistake. I stepped in poison gas. I thought it looked like super awesome shimmering treasure, and I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. Now we're asphyxiating. It's okay. I've got healing ointments. I'll just rub some goo on it and everybody will feel better. This appears to be our main objective. Our party is nearing the end of the expedition when we come across a place that opens downwards, revealing an abundance of minerals like no other. However, it opens to the planet's very core, forming a ravine that traverses entirely the planet. This place is disappearing into itself, and the surface seems likely to collapse maybe in 10 minutes, maybe in 10,000 years. The arrival of our ship was the mass required to break some kind of equilibrium, and it begins to tumble away. Let's go ahead and immobilize the ground using one of our AP. Typically, any action that you take on one of your party party members that allows you to use up an AP tends to give you a better result, since that's a limited resource, and these guys get fatigued after we get done with this expedition, so they won't be able to go on expedition for a little while again. Using their equipment, the engineer manages to vitrify the ground for miles around the current location. We can now cut and load slabs of minerals without fear of being swept away. Afterwards, we congratulate one another on an utterly successful expedition. Nice, we got 15 minerals out of it. Very good, and we've completed our objective, which means that we get a nice little morale boost. There's got to be other stuff on this planet, but I don't know if I want to stay to find it, because all of our choke points are filled in, and, like, people are getting wounded, and so, like, I'm afeared. Yeah, let's go ahead and land the ship over here. We can actually, once we've completed the expedition and its final objective, we can call the ship over, and it'll land right next to us. Unfortunately, it landed in a field full of spikes, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but hopefully it doesn't count. Yeah, board the ship. There we go. So we got ourselves a little bit of XP. We got some harvest going on. It does seem like level ups are in limited supply in this game. Most of the oh, we got a magnetic stone. What does that do? Anyways, as I was saying, you don't seem to get a ton of XP in this game, so I'm guessing that, like, hopefully the level ups are very, very consequential. Let's go ahead and take off. We can just leave. I want to take a look at my cargo hold, though, and see what I have in here. The magnetic stone, what does that do? I'd like to look at it and figure out what it does. So we got to go 2 jumps before those guys are ready. What do we do with these rocks right here that we mined? We put them inside the refinery. And so we're going to max that out real quick, and we'll just see what we get. Basically, you're opening card packs right now. Each of these mineral clumps has a chance to give you something, but no guarantee. But honestly, I kind of like the gambling of it. One thing I would recommend that they do, though, is when this is going around, it should be making clicking and whirring noises and sort of like hissing noises, like very, very analog sounds to make it more satisfying to open your little mineral packs. That's just one thing that, like, I would have done if it was me. Because, like, when you're moving things around in your inventory, it does have all of those kind of, like, I guess those Nostromo-esque, like, retro-futuristic kind of clicks and whirs, like you're interacting and talking with Mother. Anyways, like, I love those little sound effects, and I find that games are always the better for them. All right. Well, we didn't get anything too crazy. We did get some oxygen, though, which is nice, so we can refill the O2 tanks. We can also take a look at some of these slots and see if maybe there's anything that we actually have the resources to build. If we had one more iron, we could actually install a telescope, which I think would be very, very useful. In fact, that way we could actually probe neighboring systems and figure out what they might potentially have inside of them. And so maybe I'll hold on to iron. Actually, are we still on the planet right now? We're not. Okay, I was going to say I could drill for some more iron, but we're a little bit low on fuel right now. So I think it might be a good idea for us to kind of like trundle along and get to a neighboring system and maybe see if we can get the fuel tanks refilled. Unfortunately, nothing that we're looking for inside of this system. Let's go ahead and jump for that one right there. We've probably got about 6 jumps left inside of us before we're out of fuel. I also haven't verified exactly what happens when you die. Okay, so inside this system, sorry, we had like a little bit of a graphical hiccup right there, and I wasn't exactly sure what was happening. But we got a little bit of everything here, which is great. So we should go to Judah, and we should grab ourselves some fuel. That's first and foremost the most important thing that we should be doing right now, because if we don't do that, we're going to have issues. Unfortunately, my hydrogen probe is a little bit damaged, but I think it'll be okay. That allowed us to fill up a little bit. We're going to need quite a bit more, though, if we want to be kind of like not redlining. So that looks good. Let's probe one more time. Hopefully the drill doesn't break or the probe doesn't break. Yeah, we can leave it at 68. We're kind of running out of resources on this planet anyway, so I'm fine with it. Also, I think our probe is looking a little bit scuffied. Sorry, I had to restart the game right there. Like, the UI was being weird. It wouldn't let me click stuff. Like, it felt like the game was hung, but it was letting me interact with some things and not others. So it's possible that the beta version that I've got of the 1.0 right now, or at least the release version, may have a couple of hiccups inside of it. A couple of technical issues. But yeah, our probe, it's used at the moment, and I need to fix it. Like, it's not broken yet, so it's not going to let me preemptively fix it. but it is something that we need to keep an eye on. Otherwise, it's not going to work out for us. Still, inside this solar system, there may be other things that we can scoop up. We've got a civilized planet that is rich in opportunities. I don't actually think I've seen an occupied planet just yet, so that's pretty cool. We've also got a storage array over there. So let's do the grand tour. Let's kind of check all this stuff out, because like there's several things inside this system that I've never seen before, and I would like to see them. Let's go ahead and land over here because I'd like to mine some iron if I can. Okay, so we've got ourselves on some kind of like basaltic pahoihoi planet. Lots of lava flows and things. That's okay. Maybe we'll be able to pick up some magnesium or something. Use 7 fuel. Well, maybe just use 5. There we go. 7 iron. That's good. I'll definitely take that. Okay, so with our 7 iron, we should be able to do some fun activities. We'll go ahead and back out of that, and we're going to take off again because I got what I wanted. And honestly, like, quick interlude right here. This system's been giving me some weird bugs. Like, I can't really, like, interact with the UI sometimes while we're inside this system. So I think what we may do is we may just try to fill up on resources and, like, get on up and out of here. I don't know. I've had a couple of weird hangs only inside this one system. So maybe we should just kind of, like, get our stuff and go. We'll go ahead and close that down. And I'm going to refill the oxygen tanks real fast while we're down on this planet. And then while we're here, we might as well drill or something. Oh, look, dude, it's like a pancake planet. It's got some kind of, it's got pancake roses on it. I like it. I like it. Some flapjack roses. I think I can live with that. Oxygen tanks are refilled. Yeah, let's go ahead and drill for a second. It looks like we got some copper. Okay, that's not bad. Looks like we also got some oxygen, so we can throw that in storage for later. Let's go ahead and stop. I'm not going to, like, try to do an expedition here because there's no points of interest. And then, where am I trying to go right now? Where's my goal? It's up that way? Okay. Yeah, let's go to Dan 725. That sounds like a Bible verse or something. And we only have a garden planet here. Unfortunate. Don't really need a garden planet. What is that? Is that a black hole? Let's go. Yeah, let's check that out. Oh, Science Officer Sergei detects a curious body in the system that, when investigated, turns out to be a large station that's built in the shadow of a massive asteroid. Isolated from the light of the nearest star, all life seems to have departed the structure. So I can disassemble the reactor for fuel, or I can explore the archives to learn an alien word. I need the fuel. So apparently Nick's got a little bit scuffed right there, but we did refuel the fuel tanks, which is a good choice. So apparently it's got a black hole. If we have a wormhole generator, we can travel in between black holes, but we don't, like, have one of those, unfortunately. But that's still pretty cool. Like, I'm still learning new things. And so anyways, I think that's always kind of part of the enjoyment of games like this. Some people be like, well, like, it just seems like you're flying around sightseeing in space. What's the point of all this? And I'd be like, well, that kind of is, like, the fun of it. I don't know. Like, ever since you saw, like, Star Wars or, like, Battlestar Galactica or anything else, like, wouldn't it have been cool to go to space and, like, see new uncharted things that nobody's ever seen before? I think that's the appeal of games like this to people like me, is that, like, you get an opportunity to do something that, like, in your lifetime you're never actually going to get to do in the world of, like, make-believe. You know what I mean? All right, so we'll pull the ship up over here. And yes, I proba ya. I proba ya aggressively because I need fuel very, very badly. So if we can fill the tanks up here before we leave, that'd be just phenomenal. We're going to scoop this place one time, and then we're going to scoop this place next to it, because you can only get a limited amount of resources out of any of these gas giants, and your yield is going to be lower and lower each time you perform the probe action. And so anyways, I'm just trying to get what I can get for right now while we're in the neighborhood. There we go. Not too bad. Let's probe it one more time so that we've got a little bit more fuel for the road. Aw, weak, dude. Okay. All right, our equipment's damaged. It's okay. We've got the iron on board to fix it, so it is now like new. We've completely refurbished it, so it's not that big of a deal. I'd also like to install a telescope. There we go. And so now we've got our telescope. Like, what other fun stuff can I put in here? Is that pretty much all we've got the room for? We do have enough carbon, and we do have enough Oh, we're one short on iron. I do think that having like a med bay installed would be like a really good idea. Just so we have a place for people to R&R and recuperate just in case they take a little bit of a beating on the road. But let's keep going towards our objective. So we've got a blue giant over here. How do we tell if the telescope... I guess all the stars prior to this were white, and now they've all been filled in with various colors. And so I guess that's how we tell. Like, this system right here had a lot of gas giants, and it's blue. So I'm kind of wondering if the color of the star determines what planets you're going to get inside that system. I believe that's the way that it worked in games like Elite Dangerous and whatnot, is that the star type dictated what you were going to find. Let's go check out this white dwarf and see if I'm correct about that. A caravan of ships arrives in the solar system. Their trajectory has brought them under fire from a stellar defense station that we were fortunate enough to avoid. They have not been so lucky. Should we intervene? I'm just going to scavenge debris. The caravan's too slow and the ship is old. One by one, they take fatal shots and implode in the decompression of space. We wait for their inertia to carry the remains out of the defense station's range, and then we gather from the floating wrecks. The crew is bummed out about this, but we got 15 minerals. Listen, man, I've always wanted to be a space opportunist. I'm okay with this. We'll just be space salvagers. We don't have to get involved in other people's problems. We probably don't even, like, dude, they probably speak some kind of weird alien burp fart language. How are we even gonna interact with them? What if they're hostile? What if they were space bandits and they were getting their just desserts? There's no way to know. There's no way to know. This place seems like a cornucopia, so we should probably participate in it. Let's go ahead and we will go to the rocky planet first. Ooh, there's like a Fruit Stripes gum planet over there, dude. Kind of want to check that out. Ah, there's an anomalous reading here. What you got for me, baby? Anything good? Oh, there it is. It's down towards the pole. Okay, scan finished. A seam of resources. I think we can do that. Yeah, let's take a big risk here. Okay. So expedition-wise, I kind of need to do this because I kind of need the crew morale restoration. Let's see. When a resource vein is revealed, the crew gets 6 experience points. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, let's take that. Throw you on in there. Throw you on in there. Oh, nobody's healing because we don't have a... Okay, fair enough. We need to get that med bay built. That's going to be like job 1. Nobody's healing on their own. So it looks like passive healing only occurs if you have a med bay. Wait, what does the skull mean? Is the skull like especially bad? There's resources over here. So we've got like another asphyxia patch over there. This place is like locked down. I don't know if this is a good idea. We should probably just take the minerals and leave. I guess I'll take my chances. Well, we found a spaceship. He's asphyxiating. Okay, we're going to have to heal him up, unfortunately. There we go. We've got more minerals over here, and we got some crates on that side. Let's grab those goodies. And I don't think we're going to have enough AP to do the spaceship event, but also resolve some of our other events. And it looks like I really have no choice but to step into hazards over here. That's kind of unfortunate. They weren't kidding. I mean, the planet did give us a difficulty rating before we even came over here, so it's my own fault for not paying attention to the hazard warning. I'm going to see if I can snake my way around. And, like, honestly, the only reason we're here is for the final objective. So, if I can just suss that out. we might be okay. Okay, another resource patch. There's our guy, and we still have all 3 of our AP left on our engineer, so I'm going to use them on the final objective so that we get the bonus XP and so that we get the morale. Our expedition comes across the location of an ancient city, vertical but dug and sculpted into the earth rather than built upon the surface. It's completely empty. Only the echoes of our own footsteps greet us. There's an abundance of resources somewhere in the dead city, but where? Track them. The city is a vertical labyrinth built down to the very limits of the crust. Our engineer uses materials left behind by this civilization to build a detector capable of leading us directly to the reserves. We are pleased by the results. Wow, not bad. Okay. Yeah, let's get on out of here. Yeah, let's go ahead and I guess do it. You'd think the ship could have just landed next to the objective using the complex scanning equipment that it's using to track us, but I guess that would be too simple. Like, you'd think you could just, like, land right next to it, right? Since we scanned out the anomaly. I don't know. We'll just hand wave it with some sci-fi mumbo-jumbo. All right, not bad. I'll take that. And we got lots of 37 minerals. That's a lot of minerals. That's like an utter ton of minerals. I don't even think we have anywhere where we can store them, so we might have to chuck something overboard. Let's go ahead and... How hard is it to turn this into a storage slot? Do it. There we go. These only stack to 20s, though, so we've got to decide if something is worth getting rid of. So I'm going to throw the copper into the hull. And I'm going to throw the oxygen into the oxygen tank. Just to make a little bit of space, because we are going to break this stuff down in just a minute. Okay, let's go to the ship's we'll go to the ship's refinery. We're gonna max that out, and let's see what we get, baby. Honestly, a pretty weak yield for 30-something minerals. We got the iron we need, though, to do some upgrades, so I'm okay with that. And we got copper to patch the hull. We've got another stack of carbon over there. We've got some more silicates. And it looks like we've got ourselves some more thorium. Gold, and apparently tungsten. So once we find some blueprints, we may be able to do something here. Definitely build the sick bay. We need that because people aren't healing right now, and I need them to heal. So we'll throw in a sick bay right there so that people can kind of get injected with Paladone every time they go planet side and feel a little bit more optimistic about life. Let's just take off. I think we still have a garden planet to go to. Yeah, let's hit the garden planet real fast, and we'll refill the oxygen tanks. And then once we have refilled the oxygen tanks, we will go over and grab fuel from the gas giant. And then I think we'll be good. Down, 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 and away we go to the garden planet. It looks like it's like an alpine planet. Yep. We have arrived on the Ricola world. Ricola! And as you can see, oxygen tanks nice and filled back up. Looking good. I should probably drill while I'm here. Oh, that's not ideal. I was hoping we would get some iron out. Instead, we got carbon and oxygen. That's not great. I may have made a fundamental error here. Now I can't get rock samples anymore. Unless I break something down. I could disassemble the telescope, and that would fix it. But then I'm kind of stuck at the whims of not knowing what color various stars are while we fly around. A little horrifying. This is probably not the best predicament that I've gotten myself into. Probably not the least lethal quandary that we've come across. But at least we get to go to Fruit Stripe's Gum Planet now. A planet that loses its flavor after 3 chews. That's actually a pretty good yield. I will take it. Okay, all of our meters appeared to have been babysat properly. Let's get on the way to a brand new system. What does a yellow star have? Let's go see what a yellow star has around it. Probably rock planets would be my guess. Garden planets, in fact. So yellow suns, like ours, produce garden planets. We could kind of spin around the neighborhood a little bit and just see if there's any anomalies around that we can interact with. There are anomalies. Are my crew still fatigued? They are. So I can't really take them down to the planet to go grab minerals until they're all nice and refreshed. So we may just kind of bunny hop our way through this system and go to the next one. It's okay, though. There's another yellow star right here, which may give us further opportunities. Soft, malleable shapes are becoming stuck to the exterior of the ship. The engineer tells us that the strange particles are damaging the hull. They advise us to get rid of them quickly. I mean, if they're stuck to our ship, even though we're doing, like, trans-warp jumps and stuff, I doubt that accelerating is going to help. Dissolve it. He manufactures a solution capable of dissolving the particles. The life forms? We administer the solution into the objects. It works very quickly, and soon the ship is clean. As we set off, we come to a much larger version of the strange thing. Behind this free-floating lump, we find an abandoned ship. Its crew was less fortunate than us. It looks like they had to abandon the craft when the hull integrity failed. Ooh, nice. We may have a new ship opportunity here. Let's go look. Let's see this thing. Oh, it's the same ship that we currently have. Okay, what does it have in its cargo hold? Iron. All right. Okay. It also has a mess hall that makes the place more comfortable. Okay. It's also got a gravitational well generator, so it allows us to increase the range. Ooh. We've got a Death Seed, a terrifying weapon that harnesses the strange energies of Omega to forcibly increase the mass of a star and collapse it into a black hole. Dude, our ship kind of sucks. This ship has a death ray. I want to be on their ship, and being on their ship means that I don't need to repair my drill. Yeah, let's just swap ships real fast. Yep, we'll move our Hasselhoffnium over. There we go. And then, like, I think we're just going to, like, swap ships real quick. And then now that we've swapped ships, we're just going to, like, tear all this apart real fast. Like, let's just gut this place. Yeah, like, we're never coming back, so, like, why worry about it? Throw that into the oxygen tanks. I mean, the hull is a little bit scuffed by comparison to our previous hull, so that's a little bit of a bummer. We are going to have to spend some time getting this thing up to ship shape, metaphorically. Like, literally, we're already in ship shape, but, like, metaphorically. I'll probably throw that into the hull just for safety. Can probably snap off a little bit of that to reinforce the hull. Yeah, we're going to have to figure it out, but, like, it'll be okay. And we can convert these parts into whatever else we want, too. But I'm excited about the prospects of having a death ray. That's pretty cool. Could turn this into a module slot, but I don't think we really need it. I'm going to make that into a storage slot. And then if we had 2 copper, we could turn this into a technology slot. I do like the customizability of the ship. But anyways, we've been playing for about 40 minutes right now. Let me give you my thoughts about my time with Out There, Oceans of Time. Out There, Oceans of Time, I think, is a game that is pushing the right buttons for me. Like, I'm not a huge guy for games that don't really have combat, but there's something about babysitting meters and exploring planets randomly that works here for me. In the same way that it does for, like, No Man's Sky, I guess, is, like, the reference that I would make. It's obviously, like, at a smaller scale than No Man's Sky, but that's kind of what the exploratory vibes gave me. The graphics look good, and I think the lighting effects hold up while the game runs pretty buttery on my rig. It's fairly smooth. I don't think I've had any major problems. The only downside that I saw here is that occasionally the game likes to hitch up and hang on loads from time to time. Most of the time, it seems to recover, but every now and again, you've got to restart the game entirely due to the problem. And honestly, even that kind of comes with a caveat. Truth be told, it might just be due to my recording software gumming up the works because I didn't have any crashes in my pre-recording playtime, and most of the issues seemed to arise when OBS was tracking the game. And so I can't 100% say that the game has crashing issues, and I know that's not entirely helpful, but before going in on the game, make sure you check out the Steam forums on release day, just to make sure that, like, other people aren't having crashing issues, because my evidence of crashiness is kind of spotty due to recording the game for a video here on the internet. Like, other than that, I think it's a game that taps into that old feeling of, like, Star Trek episodes, where there's always something interesting happening around the corner, and you're always getting to go on, like, away team missions and find new items and stuff like that. It'll likely be a little bit slow-paced for people that are looking for something a tad more pulse-pounding, but I think for, like, people that want to boldly go, that definitely seems like the kind of niche that the game is aiming for. It hasn't been, like, immensely deep from what I've seen in my couple hours playing it, but I am looking forward to putting a little more time into it in my free time and maybe see some of the cool add-ons you can get for your ships, and also what ship models are available. Thus far, I've only seen, like, 2 or 3. So anyways, my name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day, so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were doing our impressions of Out There Oceans of Time. Tomorrow it'll likely be something else. Thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for giving me the luxury of your attention. I'll be back tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet, but up until then, it's time for me to go. Bye, everybody.